Hi, and good evening, and welcome to the Record Roundup. My name is John. I'm from Boston, and we are here tonight with a superior panel of big brains. And the purpose of the show is that we get to talk about a song or an artist and have a little discussion of some of the tracks that we may have forgotten about, have fallen through the cracks over the years. So hopefully this brings some older music back to light, brings it back to your playlist, back to your crate, so that you can keep your dance floors rocking. Quickly, we'll just mention our sponsor. We'd like to thank DJ Event Planner for being a longtime sponsor of DJNTV and all of us. Their information is down below if you'd like to explore them further. Without further ado, just making our way around the room, I'm just going to go in the order they are on the screen. We've got New Hampshire Eric with us here tonight.
Hello.
Hello, sir. We got BSR, Milwaukee, the man, the legend. We'll get Pharmacist Jay, our resident pharmacist in the house. Chris Fox, I think, might be playing with us tonight because he's on. He has the option to give us a record if he wants to, since he's here on screen getting some airtime. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We like to at least get a chance to talk about some artists that we haven't heard from in a while. And this one here I pulled up. I did have the album, but I ended up having to pull the 45 because it was just easier for me to grab. The proof that sometimes you have to travel all the way around the world to get a hit record in the USA. And when you return and you're successful with it, you might be rocking in the USA if your name is Mr. John Mellencamp.
Yes.
So he put out two lackluster records in 74, 75 and went nowhere. So he moved to London and he penned the song that would probably be the game changer for his career. It was I Need a Lover That Won't Drive Me Crazy. And it went to it hit the top 5, but not in the United States, surprisingly. In Australia, it went to the top 5. Still hadn't heard about him in the USA. So he's living in London, starts to do his writing for the second record, which was American Fool. And he's still marketed as Little Johnny Cougar because his agent said Mellencamp didn't roll off the tongue. So Johnny Cougar's living in London, and he gets contacted by Neil Giraldo and Pat Benatar, and they want to cover I Need a Lover. So she re-records it, and in the USA it hits the charts, and it charts. It's top 20 song. So now he's got some writing creds under his belt. So he comes back with Hurt So Good, Jack and Diane. Finally, he's accepted in the USA, and he breaks into the charts, and not only exceeds, those two both go to #1 on the Billboard. So this particular one, Rockin' the USA, came later. Scarecrow, 85. His pocket was probably 82 to about 90. Then I kind of lost track of him. But he did a lot for farmers in small town and that whole average guy, mid central U.S. the areas where
Seymour, Indiana.
I was going to say Indiana all day.
Born in Indiana,
and still
Seymour.
lives in Seymour.
Or outside of Seymour, yeah.
And I think on MTV at one point you could win a house that he was giving away.
A pink house.
A pink house, because pink houses. Prolific writer, so many. I think he's got 22 hits that have made it into the Billboard. Everything from Rain on the Scarecrow,
Good track.
of course, Rockin' the USA. So many. Crumbling Down.
Crumbling Down on Aha is a wonderful song. I love that track. And that's the first time he went by John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah.
And then thereafter, he was just John Mellencamp.
So he labels himself as alternative country, which was kind of interesting.
Wow.
He's got that like rockabilly feel, but that's what he said he was going for. And that's why his early stuff sounded the way it did. And then obviously you could take more artistic liberties as the label started backing him and throwing money at him to make records. But John Mellencamp, add him to your collection. There's probably a greatest hits record that will have anywhere between 15 to 20 songs. They all charted and they're all very recognizable.
Yeah.
That's my pick of the week.
I still call him John Cougar Mellencamp. I don't know.
And you got to play Pink Houses on July 4th. Pink Houses on July 4th or any Americana holiday. Pink Houses is a standard.
A really cool one that he did that you don't hear people talk about too much. I believe it was on that third album, the same album with I Need a Lover on it. It's called Small Paradise. That was the first one I remember ever hearing. And it's a really cool song.
Yeah. I forgot about
the music geek.
Scarecrow. That's a great track.
Yeah. Scarecrow, that was the first
stuff.
Yeah. And that's when he started doing the Farm Aid thing.
Yeah.
With Willie Nelson.
Yep. And it's fun about there's a couple of videos where he's like in a white t-shirt like jeans and black loafers.
Yeah, that's Crumbling Down.
Yeah. So he's got that rockabilly nod right there.
Yeah, that's a fantastic song that came out, I think, in '83.
Yeah.
But is a great album.
But
I like the whole album, but
I heard of him through Pat Benatar. So I went probably like most people. It was like, wait.
We didn't get it here.
No, Pat Benatar hit it. And then it was like he came out of nowhere with Jack and Diane.
You know what? I take that back. The first John Cougar song that I heard was not Small Paradise. That was the second one I heard. The first one I heard was it was in my head and it just like went away.
It had to be Hurt So Good.
No, well before that.
But he is
Ain't Even Done With the Night.
I just said that. Yeah.
That's a good track too.
So
he had a lot of great hits.
Everything he recorded, you'll know Cherry Bomb, Paper and Fire. I mean, even
that was cool.
Stuff was just great. And he equates himself to, he wanted to do writing. He was inspired by like Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan. So that's kind of where he landed.
That's totally his vibe.
Almost feels like he does more Bob Seger style stuff though. I always kind of thought they had very similar writing styles. They were very reminiscent about the old days and
they're both, you've got Illinois and Indiana vibes on both those artists.
Yeah.
They're definitely,
Bible Belt places, not so much Michigan, but
what they saw growing up and the working man. No,
it's the Rust Belt states where the factories were.
Yeah,
well, I used to get like the Johnny Cash vibe off him a little bit. It's kind of country, but kind of not. And he's telling a story, and he's not really singing. It's kind of spoken songs sometimes about the country. So.
It's a little bit of a Billy Joel without the piano thing too.
We're comparing him to all the heavy hitters. So
I like him. I like John Cougar.
And he's forgotten too often. You forget like his catalog. And like I said, you run to Pink Houses when you have to.
Hey, it's 4th of July. It's like time to play some John Cougar.
Play John Cougar. Yeah.
For sure. Jay, do you want to go next? Or
you know what? I have one that I just thought of after our last show, our music show with Brian. And I'm not going to go into all the titles because I'll offend JC because I won't be able to say them. But it just dawned on me back when I worked on the boats. I used to play a certain album I had for my kind of cocktail dinner music a lot. And if you don't remember it or if you don't know it, checking out. And the album is called Buena Vista Social Club.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a Cuban band that was kind of founded by Ry Cooder. And Ry Cooder is an American artist who is an insane slide guitar player. And if you ever saw Crossroads with Ralph Macchio, all of the slide guitar that Ralph Macchio does in the movie is actually Ry Cooder. So it's Ry Cooder and Steve Vai that are dueling. A lot of people think Steve Vai did both parts. Steve Vai only played the guitar. Ry Cooder did all the slide work. So pretty amazing. And I don't know what that alarm is going off in my house. Sorry. But check out Buena Vista Social Club's first studio album from 1997. It's an amazing album. Give me one sec.
Excellent.
Sorry. Only unlocked.
He's got some kind of a radon gas issue.
Go see what's cooking over there.
I hope not.
Hope not. Anybody got anything on Ry Cooder? I know the name. I don't have much of a back catalog on.
I got nothing.
If I have anything, it's accidental. It was on a compilation that he was just there. If I bought it, sadly, I don't have much unless we Google him after the show. We'll do a Wikipedia on Ry Cooder so we can all be a little smarter. Eric, would you like to share us a song selection?
If I have to.
Absolutely.
No, I'm kidding. Listen, 1982 October was the month it was released on Capitol Records. And the only two songs on the album that I know, and they've done other albums, but like they only went to like 43 and 46 on the charts, the two that I know off this album. Mm-hmm. I'll just tell you, let me tell you the name of the album first. It's Spring Session M. Anybody know what I'm talking about yet? Missing Persons was the album.
Okay.
And the two that I know is
know that.
Destination Unknown,
Yeah, great song.
and Words off that album.
What are words for?
And
Also,
neither
great song.
one of them went anywhere. Like 42, I think Destination Unknown, and Words was 46 on the charts. And I did like both of those songs. And again, it's just one of them rare things. Like 80s, there was a lot going on. We know that. You were lucky to even get on the charts back
The
in
charts were busy for sure.
Right.
There was
It
a
was
lot of competition
much
higher up. Absolutely. It was Bosnia, right? Terry, Dale,
And Dale.
Dale,
You know
Dale.
where it's from?
Where?
My hand to God. She's from Medford, Massachusetts. I met her last year. I saw her perform with the bass player from the Knack. They
Yeah.
did a performance at a local bar for maybe 100 people. And I went out afterwards and I was like, just, great show. This and that. I got a photo with her. And I said something about Medford and her eyes lit up. Yeah, she's originally from Medford and moved to LA at like 16, worked at the Playboy Club.
Nobody walks in LA.
No,
Everybody walks in LA.
met Terry Bozzio, who was Frank
That's
Zappa's
Tom.
That's a great missing.
Actually, he sits in LA.
opera with Frank Zappa. And then they formed Missing Persons. But yeah, and the guitarist, Ralph Cucaracho, he's the guy that ended up joining Duran Duran in the 90s when they had their kind of comeback with Ordinary World.
No, I knew she was from Medford. That's why I brought it up on the Boston John fucking Roundup. I
Absolutely.
just wanted to see if you knew.
I
know?
did.
We're all big missing persons fans.
Yes.
And they had a great sound, and they were that new wave edgy, and as
Yeah.
as we discussed,
And she
82.
wore the clear bra. I think that's the thing that
I
nobody-
just
Like
added
breaking the charts.
on one of their albums to
Does anybody else
Library.
know any other tracks they did that were on the charts other than Words and Destination Unknown?
Walking in LA.
Fucking LA.
Yeah, okay.
I got this album. I just put it. Let me grab it.
Go get it, Brian. Hurry up.
We'll talk about it a little more because your turn's going to be coming up. But yeah, Medford. But you met her at Stairway to Heaven, right? When she used to work in Boston, Jay? Was that the connection?
No, that's Amy Mann.
Oh, okay.
She used to work at Newbury Comics.
Newberry.
I heard the Words on the radio today. That's what made me think. I said, I'm going to look this up. I remember loving that song, but and then I looked at the album. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot all about Destination Unknown.
I think we got a heavier play because she was a local girl.
Yeah. BCN
like-
played her a lot.
It was she's from here, and if you came from here, generally the radio stations favored you. You were either on 94.5 COZ or BCN back in the day, or even FNX 100.7. They'd play all your stuff. You'd hear Cars and Giles
That's
and
it.
Aerosmith. There you
That's the album right there. Yeah, Spring Session. Is that the one you got, Brian?
Yeah. Well, duh. I'm holding it. Yeah.
No, I mean, is that the one you said you just...
Yeah. And I'd forgotten. I knew it was something M, but
That
all
is
right.
so
Let's see. What do
strange.
we got here?
That is weird. Yeah.
Anything else we recognize?
Noticeable one. Words. That's a big one.
Window.
None of your business. Destination unknown. Yes. Walking in LA. Yes.
Yep.
How
It's
about
weird
Window?
because-
Yeah.
Words. Okay. No words.
Yeah.
Windows. Bad streets. No way out. I think we're looking at Walking in LA and Destination Unknown and Words are the breakout tracks on this album.
Pretty good. Three hits on a record in the 80s. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Three noteworthy songs for sure.
Unless you're talking about Michael Jackson's Thriller, and that's a different story.
Yeah, it's just a fluke. That was lightning in a
That's
bottle,
just
that whole
a
record.
fluke.
Thank you.
But that was my choice anyway, so I just...
awesome. Good pick.
I heard it.
It was interesting. I was watching this interview with Gino Vanelli today because I'm weird like that. And he was talking about how all these albums that he did in the 70s, there were no hits on it, but he was cool with that. And Herb Albert was cool with that at 8M because he was just an album guy and he had a following and people would buy his albums. But he was never like trying to make a hit. And then his brothers said, hey, man, you're pretty big. You're playing with the symphony and people buy a lot of your records, but you could be bigger. And he was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have the pressure of being a singles guy who always has to have this big single. And like, well, we wrote a song you might want to check out, and it's I Just Want to Stop. He's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And it was a big hit. And after that, all of his albums, he always felt like he had to have a hit on it. There was just an expectation after that.
Yeah. Was Living Inside Myself on that same record, or would that come later?
Yes. And that song has been in my head all day. It won't go away.
Oh, very interesting.
I don't know why. But probably because I was watching Gino Vanelli videos.
There you go. I missed him initially. I didn't get him until he hit like MTV with Black Cars. And then I was like, oh, there's this cat from the 70s that's sounding modern now. So
The one that I remember hearing as a little bitty guy was People Gotta Move off of Powerful People. And I love that track. But I don't know where I heard it. And I do remember in about 83, there was this guy. I was working at a horse farm. I was 13 years old or 12 or whatever. And
What?
there was a guy he was boarding his horse at this farm. And he would show up and he had this really cool, like expensive Jeep. He had money and he had a crazy stereo in it. And I kept asking about it. Stereo says, look, I only listen to jazz. So you're not going to dig any tunes that I have to crank up because I'm just a jazz guy. He's like, well, I do have one thing you might like. And he played Gino Vanelli, People Gotta Move. And I'd heard it before. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this song, but I don't know where I knew it from. But yeah, we were cranking that up at the farm, at the horse stables, really loudly in his Jeep. I hadn't heard it in years. So I must have heard it on the radio in California or something.
That's the part of the story we're all fascinated with, Brian. Not the part where you said, I was 12 working on a horse farm.
That was my first job. Yeah.
That was the only thing we heard. After that, we just heard wah, 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 wah.
When you live in the country, you do things like that. And I was baling hay and cleaning stables and I rode. I did that for a summer.
Brian Estrad, the original Yellowstone.
It was my first gig. And
God, he's a country
if you
man.
ask me how I feel about horses today, I don't like them. And it probably has to do with those experiences I had on the
I
We'll
think
leave that one right there.
Living Inside Myself, I think was like very, very early 80s.
It was on Brother to Brother, and it was on the same album as I Just Want to Stop. And I was at 80, 81.
I thought I Just Want to Stop was like 78, 77.
You know what? You're right. Yeah. Where's my brain? You're right. It's 78.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. 78.
So the other one, Living Inside Myself,
Same album.
later.
But it's the same album.
So what they do? Wait a couple years, then
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, if
What?
you had a song that was working, then sometimes they'd throw it on a later record. If it was
Like
only
I said,
available for
he wasn't
45.
a singles guy. That's not what he was ever trying to do.
Oh, you're right.
He was just trying to do albums.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know how that worked out. But yeah, I think it was 78, late 78. Maybe that's how it worked out. Late 78.
I clumped in with Sergio Mendes.
Yeah. Sergio was a producer.
Well, like the Never Let You Go.
Yes.
That's when
And he's just a producer.
I go right there. So I don't know who the singer is, because that's not Sergio Mendes that sang.
No, I forget who the singers are, but
It's Sergio Mendes.
It's not Sergio Mendes. Sergio Mendes is just the producer.
So it's a stupid question, but is it the same producer that did Brazil 66?
Probably.
Because that's Sergio Mendes.
Yeah, probably.
So he called his project, like Never Gonna Let You Go is Sergio Mendes,
Mm-hmm.
but Sergio Mendes isn't singing.
Right. It's the same thing as CNC Music Factory. I mean, that was just a production thing. That wasn't, was Clive and Cole.
Didn't Quincy Jones do that too? Like it wasn't really him singing, but he took credit on the record.
Well, he was playing on it. But Sergio's a producer. At the point where Never Gonna Let You Go came out, I'm pretty confident Sergio was just producing it.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident. I might be wrong.
Assumed.
It happens a lot.
Assumed. Oh, look, that must be Sergio Mendes singing.
We just lost our host.
Right. Yeah. What?
The good thing he did his record already.
The last person to leave should be him.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he didn't just lose power. The
I'm
wind,
out.
He maybe.
no, the winds are bad around here, and I'll be next. Yeah.
Let me take over for a moment here and
Go ahead,
just
please. Yeah.
go to my pick
Yes.
or picks that I have here. I went a little different route. Instead of picking an artist, I picked a collection. And I only picked 2 samples from the collection, but I think they're fun collections. And I know we've talked about them before, but you can't talk about them enough. If you're interested in music and you want to learn more about it and you're a record collector and you want to do it very inexpensively, here's a great way you can do it. You can do this on Discogs. You can do this at your flea market. You can do it however you want to do it. Find these right here. Find KTEL albums.
Oh yeah.
God, yes. All the
These
time. Yeah.
these are a lot of fun. The reason they're so much fun, now the quality of the tracks aren't great because they've really tried to pack as many songs onto these records as they can, so the grooves aren't very wide. Sometimes there are songs on here that to my ear are unlistenable because they've sped them up to try to fit them in the 3.5 minute pocket, like Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street. Awful radio edit of that song, but most of the stuff's pretty cool. You may know a few tracks on here, but there may be some tracks that you don't know. Listen to the tracks you don't know because they were big too. That's how you learn. So
If they were on KTEL, they were big.
Right on. It was always advertised on TV. You could buy them at Kmart or wherever. I collect them. I have a large collection of KTEL, and most of them were water damaged, so I got to start over. But I do have some here that I wanted to share. This one is Right On from 1976, as seen on TV. I'm going to give you the track listing on here, just to give you an idea of what we got here. And it's written in black, and this album is blue, and I got a sleeve on it, so this is really hard for me to see. The Boys Are Back in Town, Thin Lizzy.
Huh.
Magic Man Heart. I'm going to pull this out of the sleeve. I'll be able to read it better without the glare here.
Side note: power dipped off. Router rebooting.
Nice.
From our host.
Yeah.
You Are the Woman, Firefall.
Oh my God, I love that song. Yeah. And that's yacht rock, right?
Yeah, I would categorize it as that. Let me turn the lights up a little bit because I feel like an old blind person here.
Well, hurry up before the lights go out.
My Mac
We're going around.
get me all flustered. I got my magnifying glass too. Now I can see this much better now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, Kiss and Say Goodbye, Manhattans.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Bay City Rollers.
Another great one.
Love Machine Part 1, The Miracles. That's a fun song.
That's a good song.
People kind of forget about, but it's a neat song. Love Hangover, Diana Ross. You'll Never Find Another Lover Like Me, Lou Rawls. That's side one.
Yeah.
I know every one of those songs.
Yep.
Like, well.
All singers.
Okay. Side two, Elton John, Daniel.
Nice.
But
Just
still,
to be close to you, Commodores.
wow.
One man, one woman. What the hell? One man, woman, one woman, man. There we go. It's Paul Anka and Odila somebody. I don't even know that one. I do. ABBA.
Yeah.
Great song.
You Are My Starship. Norman Connors. Cisco Kid War. All by Myself. Eric Carmen.
Oh my God.
Womp womp. That's a
Please
sad
don't
one.
play that. Please.
Magic Pirate.
Great track.
What? All by myself?
Yeah, I think it's a great track.
Did You Boogie With Your Baby? Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids. And the last song on side two of 1976's KTEL's Right On is Brick with Daz. I mean, what? This is fun. I mean, it's so eclectic. This is maybe this is why I'm such a goofy DJ and play weird stuff, because I grew up on this crap.
That's very attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, but that's how I do it. And it's all fun. Now, let's look at an entry from, I think, 1981 from KTEL. See, this was called High Voltage.
Yeah.
Another
Let's
fun
see
one.
the track listing on this one.
Apologies.
on there.
Apologies for dipping away for a second just because I lost power here and the router had to kick back. But
Yeah, we were making fun of you while you were off the air.
We're stable.
Your
So-
show.
all right.
Took over. Okay, John, this is hilarious
Okay.
because I randomly picked this. I wasn't really thinking about what was on it. But side one, track one is, any guesses?
Huey Lewis.
Seasons in the Sun, Terry Jacks.
Come on, John, give me a good guess. What's
Betty
the
Davis
first
song.
track on side one?
How far back are we going? What year
This
is
is
it?
1981 High Voltage. What's the
Oh.
first track, John?
That's going to be Hall & Oates. It's got to be.
Nope.
I can't go for that.
Nope. It's weirder than that. Living Inside Myself, Gino Vanelli is track
I
one.
told you it was.
Didn't we just talk about this?
Yes.
It's fate.
Okay, this is a cool song that I know that Eric likes. I don't know why I know he likes it, but I know he likes it.
Oh, here we go.
It's by an act called Frankie and the Knockouts, and the song is called Sweetheart.
I don't even know the damn.
You
thing.
know it. You know Frankie and the Knockouts, Sweetheart.
You're
And
gonna have to
it's
play
right in
that.
your wheelhouse.
Just play it after the show.
We're
I'll
gonna
play
have
it
to play
after
that
the
after the show.
Too Much Time on My Hands Sticks.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow, boy, they're
Don't
really
Stand So Close to Me, Police.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this song. Precious to Me, Phil Seymour. I love that
good
song.
song. That's a great song.
Games People Play, Alan Parsons Project.
Mm.
And to John, Kiss on My List, Hall & Oates.
Oh,
That's the last
all right.
track on
We knew
Psycho.
they had to be
I
on.
got it. I almost stuck the landing. At least I landed on the island.
Yeah, not the first, but the last. Right.
I thought
Okay.
Huey would be on there too, but
It's too early for that, I think.
It's too
Side-
early.
Side 2, track 1. Oh, I forgot about this stuff. Celebration Cool in the Gang. I forgot about this song. It's Delbert McClinton, Giving It Up for Your Love. I forgot
Giving It
all
Up for Your
about
Love.
that song.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Heart. Tell It Like It Is. I think it's a Smokey remake. Did Smokey do that originally? No, Aaron Neville. Did Aaron Neville do it?
I
Who
think
helped
he did it at some point.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe he redid it.
That came out of Motown somewhere. Yeah. It was-
I think it did. Yeah. Treat Me Right, Pat Benatar.
Huh.
Turn Me Loose, Loverboy.
Wow.
Oh, I love this song too. Dreaming by Cliff Richard. That's a great song.
That's your man.
it's a good
And
catch.
I love A Rainy Night. Eddie Rabbit wraps up side 2.
Gotta represent the country in there somewhere.
That was top 40 back then. I mean, that was all what it was, urban cowboy time. But
Mhm.
guys, if you're a record head, if you like to collect this stuff, if you're going to flea markets, grab these, man. If you know like maybe a quarter of the tracks, then you want to grab it because you want to know the other 3/4 of the tracks on these records because they're relevant. There's no garbage on these. These are all good. Believe it or not, they're all relevant and good. So if
And
you
you
want to learn music and you want to do it on the cheap and you're already collecting records, K-Tel's collections are the way to go. You can't buy a bad K-Tel record.
Nope.
No, the compilations for sure, because even like you say, you'll know that quarter by sight, and
Yeah.
you'll play through and be like, "Oh, that's what that other song is." Now I know that one too.
And
And-
what was it
my
about
belief-
Frankie and the Knuckles, Sweetheart? Eric's like, I don't know that song. I'm like, yeah,
we're
you
gonna
do.
play that after. I'm sure.
You
I
play
know.
it like, oh, that.
I'm a
yeah.
little foggy on that one myself. So I'll have to
Actually,
get
you
that one.
know who I know has to be a fan of that song? Not Eric, John Young. That song has John Young written all over it.
Oh, big time.
Probably. I gotta hear it, but
Yeah, I'll play that.
Oh, yeah. But you know what you know who I think took over K-Tel? If you think about it now, that's what I call music because they did something for
the
years.
concept,
after
yes.
yeah.
I mean, now was a British. I actually have a K-Tel back here from 1976 that I got in Germany. It's all German. And it's a double record set. So,
I had one that
K-Tel was international.
Goopy tracks or something like that. It was like K-Tel. It was all stuff like Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Polka, that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how we got all that stuff. We would,
Right.
we were beyond the 45s. We'd get those 50s and 60s compilation discs. It's just a great way to get a whole bunch of usable stuff in a very little area. Because otherwise, you're carrying 40 records to get all those songs.
Right.
Only getting 1 or 2 on a record. So you get something like that. That's weight well carried.
But I do believe they were different versions. They were shortened on the K.
Well, they were radio edits.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, the grooves were narrow because they were trying to pack a lot of crap
Mhm.
on these records.
Yeah.
So, not always the best sound quality, but
Right.
you know what? It doesn't even matter. I mean,
You could do in a
it's kind of
pinch.
fun to listen to.
Great exposure to different tracks. Because
Yes.
you'd like 2 or 3 of them. That's the first time I ever heard Steely Dan. I heard Peg on
Really?
one. I think, I'd heard, a couple
Ricky,
of,
don't lose that number or whatever.
but I didn't have a collection at the time. I was very kind of not getting a lot of music. And once I started getting those then inspired me to go get artist albums.
Well, that was the first actual Prince recording I bought. Was Certified Gold, 1980, with "I Want to Be Your Lover" on it.
Mhm.
It's the first time I ever physically bought a Prince recording. Was that? I didn't know. I bought it for Kenny Loggins' "I'm All Right."
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed because it was the live version, and I didn't want the live version.
Oh, when they would
see the album.
Yeah,
and you know what? I didn't even buy it. It was on my Christmas list, and we didn't get a lot of Christmas gifts, so I was so excited to get it for Christmas, and then had the wrong damn version of that song. But a lot of other great songs. I remember, like Pretenders' "Brass in Pocket" was on there. There was a lot
I
of
love that. I love that song.
one that had Thunder Island on it, and then I heard a different radio version that was longer, and I'm like, I want that one.
Yeah,
I don't want this short little quick thing. But I think it was, again, like they would compress stuff down and just send it out. Like you were saying, the edit was bad.
Right. Yeah. You hear Kiss, I want to rock and roll all night live on the radio. It sounds amazing. And you buy the compilation and it's a studio version. It sounds like they recorded it inside a tin can. You're like,
they sped it up.
So disappointing.
There were some circumstances, right? And this is true because I searched high and low for this song because somebody kept asking for it many, many years ago. It was called "Numbers" by Bobby Bear. And never released. It was only released on a K-Tel album. That one single.
Wow.
Yeah, and it kind of pissed me off. But you know what? I bought the K-Tel. I had everything else on that K-Tel, but I just wanted that one song. And back then, you're buying the whole record.
We've all had to do that too. But then you'd get the compilations. It was like Pure Funk or Pure Disco and volumes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Ta-da! It's like, now I've got every disco song, and then someone will still hit you for one that's not on the 3 CDs. You're like,
I can't say this enough. These are not expensive. If somebody wants $5 for this, they're ripping you off. These are dirt cheap at thrift stores and stuff. But if you're interested at all in just learning about new tracks or and there's stuff on there that I'd forgotten about until I saw. Oh my God, I forgot all about that song. Neat stuff.
The convenience of having it all in one place. Is that from a recent crate dig of yours or?
No. I've had those for a very long time. What I really need to do is figure out what stuff I have and what stuff I don't, which is what I've been doing and logging it into Discogs. So when I go out, I'm not buying, 50 copies of Powerhouse or Dynamite or something. I got to know what I've got because there's a lot of K-Tel stuff out there.
Sure.
Like there's a whole bunch of it. I've got yacht rock stuff. I got soft rock stuff. I've got rock K-Tel albums. I've got disco ones. I've got like 3 or 4 disco ones, a lot of bubblegum ones. But the collection I had, I almost had a crate of K-Tel, and most of them got water damage. I have to go through them and maybe get a steamer on them because I want to try to save some of them just to catalog.
Has anybody ever seen a K-Tel on a CD?
No.
No, right? No.
And I only think I had 3 of them, and then I found a used record store, and I was off and running. I was like, wait a second. I can spend like $2 and get a whole album?
Yeah, right.
20 songs? Yeah. Well, because it'd be like 10 aside, tiny little groups. But hey, worked in a pinch and it got us through. That's what we had to do back in the day. Back in my day, as they say. Super great picks, guys. Thank you for putting up with the technical issues that we had here. It's the Record Roundup. You can see us every week, bringing ideas for music that you may have forgot. If you've got artists that you want us to talk about or maybe expand into our panel here, please put some comments down below, and we'll try to get back and read those and see if we can't bring some artists to light and share with the masses. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you on the